I want to use our 175-year-old database of tropical systems going all the way back to 1850. I put into the database all the storms that came within 50 miles of where Tropical Storm Erin is now. And from those 175 years of storms, we got these. These are 51 storms over the past 175 years that came within 50 miles of Erin. And as you can see, most of them stayed out to sea, but there were 3 of them that did make landfall in North Carolina. So 6% of storms where Erin is now, based on our database, run into North Carolina. Those are pretty low odds, right? It's hard to get a storm where Erin is now all the way to North Carolina. The storms that did hit us: Hurricane 6 in 1933, that was before we gave them names, and then Connie and Diane within a few days of each other back in 1955. So those are low odds, but of course, that history has nothing to do with where the storm is going this time around. Right now, the visible satellite shows a storm that's still a little disorganized, but it did get stronger in the past 12 hours. The latest from the National Hurricane Center: 60-mile-per-hour winds that are gusting up to 70, moving to the west at 17 miles an hour. Everyone on the East Coast, present company included, will be watching very closely in the next 48 to 60 hours for a turn to the northwest. That is what is expected, and that is what the hurricane hunters are going to investigate. We've got reinforcements starting tonight. They have relocated several of the Hurricane Hunter aircraft to the eastern Caribbean from bases in Biloxi and in Florida. And so they'll be a lot closer to have easier access to investigate what's happening with the storm. That information they collect will get fed all across the world to meteorologists and computer models to help us do a better job at forecasting. But the latest from the National Hurricane Center still expects this to be a Category 1 hurricane tomorrow. It'll be the first hurricane of the season. And then continuing to march to the west and eventually northwest and eventually north early next week as a Category 3 hurricane. I want to take a different look at that Day 5 forecast. Again, next Tuesday afternoon, a Category 3 with 125-mile-per-hour winds, about 500 miles east of Florida. That's about 700 miles from us. But I want to bring in the last 24 hours of forecast represented by these circles. So each one kind of marches forward a little. What you can see in this is that there have been a couple shifts to the west, but this is only Day 5. Let's bring in the computer models, which go out 7 days and give us a better idea of what consistently has been the solution for Tropical Storm and eventually Hurricane Erin. It will take a turn to the north, being closer to Bermuda, but again, still close to the East Coast, but staying offshore. That has been consistent over the last couple of days. I will tell you this: with a Category 3 storm a few hundred miles off our coastline, we won't have no impacts. We will have some higher surf along the coast. So think to yourself, next Thursday, we could have a Cat 3 a few hundred miles east of us. Do you have plans for the last week of summer vacation to go to the beach? You might have some rough surf, so something to think about. Probably no impacts for us here in central North Carolina because it'll be too far away. And this storm is going to slide in between one area of high pressure over the Atlantic and another one over the United States. Plus, an approaching trough and cold front are going to help pull this storm to the north. If this high gets stronger and pushes it west, that would change the forecast. But if this high gets stronger and pushes it east, that would change the forecast. So it's going to be a dance, a week of it, as we watch the forecast change over the next few days. So at this point, there's nothing we need to do other than be patient and watch to see what happens. Again, it doesn't look like it's going to be a direct impact for us. What we will have to deal with: drier weather and warmer temperatures. I think we all are ready for a break from the rain. Not sure if we're ready for 90s, but we're going to have them come back, or at least be very close, in the coming days.